Welcome everybody to this Newired webinar. We're going to talk today about the issues that you can solve with a good digital adoption platform. If you would have any questions during the webinar, there's a question item on your toolbar that you can open. You can just simply ask questions. I may not respond directly, but my colleagues are also online, so they can answer questions. But we can also save them for the Q&A session at the end of the webinar. So yeah, I guess we are more or less complete now. So I'll just kick off. So thank you again for joining us. My name is Rob Vogelsang. I'm Vice President of Business Development for Newired. And I will present today together with my colleague Gianluca Ippolito. He's from Product Management. So hi, Gianluca. So today I will tell you shortly about the Newired mission. We will show some solutions that we have. We do a live demo, and we will actually create some journeys in the live demo. And at the end, there will be an opportunity for questions and answers. Okay, so about Newired. Well, we are a privately held European company. We have our headquarters in Turin, in Italy, and our R&D is in the Czech Republic. The company was started back in 2016, and we went on the market in the end of 2017 with our Newired Journey product. We added a new functionality called Tips in 2019, and since the beginning of this year, we have this new 21 version that adds a lot of new functionality that we would like to show today. So our mission is really to create and defining digital ways to make the digital world more understandable for people, to reduce that gap between people and the digital world. And as you may know, innovation in IT is often driven from three directions. So there's science. It's sourced from universities and research labs. And science discovers problems that we didn't even know we had or will have. And the second source is software engineering itself. So software developers figure out smart ways to solve a problem. And new innovations come from unexpected disciplines, like, for instance, gaming or artificial intelligence. And the third source of innovation are the users, who have ideas and have challenges that they seek solutions for. So users call tech support with a problem, and they inspire us with their ideas. And today we'll be focusing on the customer standpoint and how we respond to their questions. So this digital adoption aspect is growing very fast. In the last 4 years, has been an enormous demand for digital adoption solutions. So where does it really come from? It's because the digital technology is growing exponentially, and companies struggle to keep up with that. Investments in digital transformation are high. There's an ongoing battle for user acquisitions. Like you see in this slide, customers are becoming more demanding, and it's really difficult to please their experiences. There's lack of time, there's lack of motivation. Things just become too complex, and it's really hard to implement new technology in organizations today. So there's a need for a technology that actually enables technology, that makes digital systems more human-like and more understandable. So What you would normally see in an organization is if you introduce a new product, a new application, then there is a steep learning curve in the beginning for people to get to know it. And after a while, you forget. And that's normal. It doesn't matter if you're young or old. We just have a lot of on our minds. So it needs retraining to increase the knowledge about the application. And then after a while, you will see some changes in the system, and then the knowledge goes down again. So to really flatten this learning curve and to keep it on the desired level, we created something that's called journeys. And these journeys will be available all the time. So whenever you have a question how to do something in the application, you can simply call upon a journey and it will explain you step by step how to reach your goal. So if this digital adoption is a solution, what are the issues really? So we really spoke with our customers. We made an inventory of the issues that our customers are dealing with, and we came up with a nice little list of the most challenging aspects of today. So one of the most common mentioned challenges that our customers have is onboarding of new staff. You hire new people, they need to learn new applications, they have a lot of new steps to make in the organization. So onboarding new staff is really one of the biggest challenges that they see. Migrating staff to new software. So you introduce a complete new package, or you have to roll out your software also to offices abroad in different languages. That is also one of the things that customers mention a lot. Another challenge is keeping e-learning materials up to date, because every time there's a new version of an application, you need to update your e-learning materials as well. And that always seems to be lagging behind. So keeping e-learning up to date is actually a really big challenge for our customers. Another aspect is what we just saw is the forget effect. So you train people and then after a few months they simply forget because they don't do it all that often, or it's just simply too complex to keep that knowledge with you. Another challenge is to stimulate people to actually use the business applications. Often there's a wide variety of applications available for staff, but not everyone is using it in the correct way or using it at all. One other challenge that we found is that the quality and the consistency of the data entered by users in the systems, and that is actually we will show an example later where we actually zoom in on this aspect. So explaining and implementing new versions of the software within your organization. Another aspect that we hear is that companies struggle with the user experience of the software. They can't find their way easily, so they're looking for solutions to actually guide people through the software, and in this way improving the user experience. One other quite important aspect is help desk calls. What we often hear is that people forget certain tasks, how to do it. For instance, how to check your holiday balance in a workday, because you do that only once a year. And then every year again, people call help desk, create a ticket to ask how to check my holiday balance. And this is actually quite a costly experience for big organizations, and it's really simple to fix that with digital adoption. We will actually show you an example during this webinar how you can do that. Also, the calls with help desk and colleagues can be shortened a lot. We see, especially in these COVID times, that people are working from home. They don't have access to colleagues, and digital adoption can solve that problem. Another aspect is external visitors to your website. You may have a web shop, or we have, for instance, the community of Milan, who is communicating with the population of the city of Milan, and they do a lot of interaction with the city, and our software is being used to support those visitors. It's also being used by the Italian tax agency to help Italians file their tax declarations, and so it's not just for internal, but you can also support external visitors. One other aspect that we hear a lot, because we have a lot of pharmaceutical and aerospace companies as customers, is that it's sometimes really hard to guide people through complex regulated procedures. You have to fill in a lot of forms, digitally sign certain forms, and the digital adoption can actually help people to go through complex procedures. One other aspect that we also hear a lot is that help systems of applications is not easy enough, not simple enough, not attractive enough. So in order to fix that, you better hire instructional designers or teachers or domain specialists to create help content instead of developers, because software developers often have a completely different view on technical tasks than an instructional designer should have. So we support the more, let's say, creative people to create educational systems rather than leaving it to developers, who are also very scarce. So it's actually a very positive aspect that you can have non-developers to create user guidance. So the last aspect that we hear is that it is really difficult to give access to knowledge base content. So you may have short videos, PDFs explaining stuff, maybe even audio recordings that explain stuff. And with digital adoption, you can actually give access to the exact knowledge base content on the exact right moment. So people don't have to search for it, but it will actually be offered to them where, depending on where they are in the application. So let's look at the more brighter side and look at the solutions that we offer. So the Newired digital adoption comes with a really easy to use journey editor. Like I said, it's without coding, and Gianluca will show later how that actually works. You can add rich content to journeys. So it could be a video, it could be like a GIF, or a piece of text that is being copied from a book, or so you can actually enrich the content with external graphical data. We support a version control system, so journeys will evolve over time, and with version control you can actually keep control of which version was made when was it approved, when was it published. We will show you how that works later. Another very important aspect is the robustness of journeys, because a journey should also work after the software has been updated. So if the user interface has a slightly different layout, or fields moved around after an update, the journey should still work. So we have a patented algorithm that actually keeps track of all the items in a user interface, and we will simply follow those user interface items, even if the look and feel or the order or the layout is being changed. Privacy is also a very important aspect of digital adoption, because you don't want user data to be gathered. So we don't gather any data of the users. people can use digital adoption as much as they like, but we will never be able to say who is struggling with what. So we can track behavior in general, so we can see which journeys are being used, how often, and which aspects of journeys could be improved, where people struggle, but we will never be able to see who is actually using that. Also, another security item is that it is possible to install the server of Newired, so the portal where all the journeys are being kept, on your own server. So it can be installed as an on-premise server, so without cloud hosting. This is actually often demanded by governmental agencies or aerospace agencies. There's a possibility to translate the journeys into any foreign language. So you can make your initial journeys in English and then export all those journeys in an XLEF file, which is like a standardized format, and then ask your translation agency or foreign colleagues to translate everything, and you can then read it back into the Newired system, the platform, and then you have another new language that's being supported. This is quite an important aspect as well for the international rollout. So another solution is the export of the documentation. So journeys can actually be exported in Word format, including screenshots of the underlying application, which is really helpful to indeed translate, but also to do quality approvals, electronic signatures, stuff like that. There's a solution for cross-application support. So with Newired, it's actually possible to start a journey in, let's say, SAP. So you have some work in SAP, and then you need to change to another application to check inventory or CRM, whatever, and back to SAP. So the journeys made by Newired can actually go cross applications. It can even start external applications when needed. And we will actually show you an example of how that works later in this presentation. It's possible to adapt journeys to corporate style guides. So you can change the colors, the fonts, the appearance of journeys. So it will look like it's actually part of your business system. It has the same layout, the same look and feel. That makes it a lot more attractive. There's a whole system behind the journeys to manage that reviewing process, approval, deployment process. So before you actually publish the journeys on your system, it's possible to have a peer group checking them, approving them. So in this slide, we have all the issues that our customers are dealing with on the y-axis here. And so the onboarding, the migration, the effective use of software, reduced tickets. And here on the x-axis, we have all the solutions that we just talked about zero coding, the robustness. And so you could ask, okay, so which solutions does Newired offer for all these issues? Well, actually, we cover everything. So for every issue, we have a certain solution to deal with that. So let's zoom into this aspect of reducing help desk tickets. So what is important to tackle this issue? Well, first, it should be very robust, because if you have tasks that you don't do that often, maybe once a year, there's a possibility that after a year, your software has been updated. So it means that the digital login system must be really robust and must keep on working even though there have been updates in the meantime. So robustness is an important aspect here, but also the cross-application could be really important to reduce help desk tickets. And we'll actually now switch to Gianluca, who can show you some examples how that would look in practice. So can I change to you, Gianluca?
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, I'll just take it myself and I'll start sharing my screen. Yeah. So, do you see my screen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. So, for today's webinar, this is the following demo that I would like to share with everybody. Currently, we are on Oracle EPM, and from the case is this. So we will go through a journey which is specifically made over Oracle, and the main objective of this journey is to export some document and then bring it back to Sign Now, which is an application that enables you to do digital signatures over documents. We'll also tackle the matters of cross-application, therefore, and how to actually reduce these tickets, support tickets, which may sometimes be not necessary or really can overcrowd the support, hence will have it lower its overall performance. But let's start, and I'll simply start my journey. The journey is called gross margin calculation, and we'll simply go through the application. So let it just load a second. So yeah, this is a journey that it's contextually guiding us through. Even if I have no knowledge about the system, this will still just bring me around and actually have me go through a process that I never did before, with still the knowledge that may be of somebody that really has a lot of expertise into this system. So right now, the system has loaded, and you can see that I need to add some elements, unit prices for my products. So I'll just add a few numbers here. This is of course just for example, and then I want to click on save. So even though the system may take some time to load, you can see also that Newired is really adapting to all the timings that internally the system has, so that it can move fluently forward. Okay, so now we have saved this kind of information and we want to move forward. So now we actually go to the gross margin overview. Page needs to load, so just a few seconds. Yeah, and yeah, so let's continue with our journey. I need to export my spreadsheet that we have over here, so that of course you can bring it to Sign Now and then sign it. So I'll click on export, and now I should get my export. There it is. The journey automatically is bringing me to the other application. So this is not only guiding me through this specific application, but also easing me inside the other one without having me to interact with the browser or having to put another specific URL. So by clicking on next, this will automatically go through, and you can see now we have the Sign Now application, in which already the journey will start. So it's actually, it's not a new journey, but it's a continuation of the journey that we were currently doing. So now we need to upload the document. So we need to click here and select our document. So supposedly we just uploaded our new document, and we want to proceed with a signature. Just click on next, select the signature, select a place where the signature should be. Of course, I would have my signatures here, any kind of variation. I can simply sign and save and close. So even though the system is making some hiccups, you can still see that Newired can really adapt also to this kind of situation and still be very flexible, so that it's both following the user, making sure that the user is fully guided, and really communicate well with the system. Now, Rob was talking about having reduced support tickets, and I made two very simple examples over Sign Now, which may represent what are a big help for the support team. What do I mean by this? Like, if somebody may forget how to delete a document, and I'm still in the auto journey, right? So from here I can call another journey, and let's say that I want to delete a document, but I'm not able to. So I'll just click, and it follows me through, asks me to delete the document. It's just showcasing me this, right? Or for the same kind of specific case, maybe I deleted by mistake a document, I just want to restore it. I go to how to restore a document, and go to trash, click restore, again, click restore. So these very simple things, which may easily be described with the journeys, can really impact the system for support, because they will be a full-blown ticket sent to our support, which needs to analyze, figure out what's wrong, and then propose the solution to the user. Newired in this case is cutting the middleman, so the tickets are not even signed or not even sent to the team, so that the team can really focus on what really matters. With this, I think that's pretty much it, Rob. So I'll bring it back to you.
Okay, thank you. So let's go back to my screen. All right. So we looked into the reduced tickets aspect. So next, I would like to talk a little bit about data quality. How can you actually make sure that your staff is entering the right data, and is how can you prevent mistakes here? So for this aspect, I think the fact that you can have a zero coding editor is important. What do I mean with zero coding? So the creation of the journeys that you just saw does not require any development or coding. You can compare it with making a PowerPoint presentation. If you include some animation in there, you simply pick and click and set the conditions for the next step. This is actually how you develop journeys. And Gianluca will show you in the second presentation how that actually works in practice. So another aspect about data quality is on the documentation export, because if you want to make sure that your staff is entering the right data at the right point, you can write simple best practices around that and make sure that people follow that. These best practices need then to be signed off by management. So the document export of journeys is an important aspect here as well. So for data quality, Gianluca, I again return the screen to you, and maybe you can show a nice example of that.
Yes, thank you, Rob. So yeah, I'll take again my So now I want to go directly over the editor, which is the place where we actually create content, to show how easy it is to create something which is related to the data quality of any kind of system. So what you see here is actually our editor, which is simulating a usual browser, for the exception that we have this sidebar here that's allowing us to create all of the content. And strictly about the data quality, we may have tips. Tips are essentially contextual pop-ups which are giving you additional information. Now, these kind of items, it's quite easy to create, and I'll just make you an example. So I need to add a new tip, select the element I want to attach it to, and then give it a name. So this is name. It doesn't really make sense as tip, but you can see that this is quite, and the tip has been created, so this will appear. But these tips can really be much smarter than this. What do I mean by that? With tips, we are able to read the data inside of the items and show something based on the input that the user is writing. Let's go with an example. Let's suppose that I'm filing through this account and I'm also adding the country. In the case that I'm inputting some specific country, which in this case would be the US, I would need to specify my state. So how do we actually do that? In this case, now here, I will simply type USA, and whenever I'm going out of the system of that box, the tips are going to evaluate these conditions. That if I put some the USA text there, is pointing me and just highlighting me the state box that I need to fill out. And this is, it may be quite complex with these kind of rules, but we have a tool which is actually enabling us to create a really wide range of choices to validate any kind of data over forms or boxes over your application. So to really improve the quality of your inputs. Another example may be that, and I think this is quite more common, that whenever my user is putting some email, I don't want them to use their personal email. It may happen for some companies. So if I type here my name at gmail.com, you will see that another pop-up which will evaluate that I've wrote some the gmail.com, which may also be a work email, but it's usually strange, and it will just say, hey, please add a work email. And if I go back and put, for example, at Newired.com, the tip will go away because it recognizes that this is a work email, and it can proceed that way. So this is really for what the end user would have to interface for data quality. Now let's go back to the other subject that that Rob was bringing and talking about, which is the export of documents. In a lot of kind of systems and companies, you may want to have some classic on paper PDF from which you're able to analyze the system. So we are able to extract any kind of version that you publish live, so that you're able to check it in a docx, which can of course become a PDF, so that external people inside of your company can even check out the journeys without being inside of the web application or having to it's just opening here, yeah. without having to use the editor or the application, they're able to see and also notify to you whether something is not wrong, whether something is okay about your journeys. So you can see here that I have a full extract over a docx document with all of my journeys, which are contained in an example of a web application. And this will be fully described with types, content, and also screenshots or whoever made it, so that I can really go and analyze this, and perhaps my boss can check it out, can hand me out some notes, and I'm able to go and improve even more my journeys, which therefore is going to improve the life of my users for the application. So that's it. Back to you, Rob.
Okay, thank you, Gianluca. That was really nice. Okay, so one other aspect of digital adoption is, of course, the feedback that we get from customers. What does it actually deliver in numbers? Well, here's some figures that we got back from our surveys, and it's been reported that 53% of internal costs, training costs for staff training, has been saved. Another number here is that we've seen an increasing interaction with users within 6 months by 20%. So people actually use the applications better, and they achieve a higher performance from users with 20%.
Okay, so it seems that there's some technical difficulties with Rob, and so we're coming back again and connect one more time. So sorry, and thank you for your patience. Okay, so it seems that it's currently we're still having technical difficulties. So we need to close up the webinar. So thank you for attending. If you have any other questions, you can write to us directly, and we will be more than happy to answer. So wish you a nice rest of the day. Take care. Bye-bye.